Having a world point of view makes me look at this country as just one of the players. So I come back in and I'm aloof. You do notice that it is what it is, and I have a long tenure of knowing and studying what it is, but it's more like its effects on people nowadays. You talk about new generations that have grown through it. They can't make references to times before themselves as easy. So the media can get away with a lot of things they couldn't in the past, and there's also things that they could not get away with these days. So Black Lives Matter is a narrative now that's is outstanding because it's used the word black, which has somehow become a curse word over the last 15 years. I used to always address and still address people when they say they love hip hop, and I say, well, do you love black people? And then that's met with a, well, what's that got to do with it? I said, well, because you're looking at something that comes out of a people with more respect than the people themselves. It's the legacy that comes out of. It's not so much just the people or that individual. But then that opens up a can of words to a whole nother expose on something that they need to know, that they're not going to get in their family structures, they're not going to get in their school systems, and they might not get it in their family's lineage as well. Where once upon a time, culture and music opened up doors because it brought the human race together under our similarities and knocked aside our differences. That has been altered. I look at media today and it kind of like threads on what bad somebody has done as opposed to trying to accentuate the good. Immediately somebody's record or tenure could be wiped out with one bad incident, and the bad incident is determined by how media looks at it. Case in point, O.J. Simpson. When I was growing up, he was an all-star football player. O.J. Simpson, to people born in the 90s, was this guy who murdered his wife, and then got freed on a glove derailment or whatever. Then later on he becomes, oh yeah, that's the guy who's kind of like, used to have the Kardashians' father work for him. I mean, so media will stir its pot any particular way. You have to be able to pay attention. That's the cheapest price that you can pay in these times. You got to very much be aware of all these things because everything and everybody will claim that they're media. You guys are very well studied and studious as far as your technique, your dedication, your know-how. You might feel offended when somebody comes out of left field and says they do what you do, just because they dig it. Just because you dig something, that doesn't make you the pro. So there's no governing order on how things should be. There's no pecking order. In sports, they always have pecking orders. It's okay to say that you're a sports blog, but you're not ESPN. We can better organize the structure of rap music and hip hop so the narrative would be clearer. You don't have to worry about sloppy media getting in the way. We're barraged by sloppy media. But also, we as a people, the black folks are barraged by sloppy media. Usually the sloppiest media gets the goose because we don't have this type of structures that stand up, uphold, and fight back at every little word. We once upon a time did have some of those things. That's dissipated into the galaxy of blogs, media, and anybody who wants to say something about anything. That's the times we live in. I look at times, a lot of times, where I don't look at the time that we're in. I kind of like look at the time ahead. When you look at the time ahead, it makes you look at this time on whether you're going to do this, do that, get off the pot, go forward, hold up and breathe a little bit. 2020 is supposed to be a measure of clear sight. But we got to kind of prepare in 2016 how we're going to look at 2020. So, that's that aloof, utopian, hippie type of thing in me on the artist, on the tread of being an artist. Most artists are kind of like on that edge of not really being here, either in the past or the future, not really in the present sense as much. So we're headed for some stranger times.
The problems come from home first. Like you can't blame it on this. You can't blame it on the police. You can't blame it on the white man. After a while, shit, they also do fucked up shit, but in fear of consequences, it's supposed to start at home.
Brooklyn, New York was a little bit like when I was super young, like 6, 7, 8, 9, it wasn't so bad. But by the time I turned 13, things in the neighborhood took a turn. So the music was a way for me to really just not hanging out with the wrong crowd.
I walked with the biggest shoulders in the world to say, I got this, you don't have this. This is the power that I have. To me, the tangible medium, it means everything because it gave you a leverage.
I called Chuck and I said, Chuck, did you hear this? And he was like, yo, Hank, I was listening to the same thing. That shit got me on fire. I'm pissed. He said, so we went in and made what we considered to be the inverse of I Know You Got Soul, which was Rebel.